Yeah, it's really cool to see guys who can do all of it. And it kind of, it just blows me away, because you have a ton of artists who just do like the still renderings or who just specialize in animations. And then you have guys who just are experts in all of it. And that's really cool to see. So
everyone, what's going on? It's Jimmy Leach with Matthew Melia, and you are listening to the Not Network podcast. This is the show that's not about networking. It's about making some friends, dude. It's about making some friends. And today on episode 10, joining us, our new friend is going to be Tommy Kimmelman. Enjoy. All right. On today's episode of the pod, we are graced with the business development specialist, king of the Nifties, the one and only Mr. Tommy Kimmelman. Wearing Nike socks and Vans, Tommy graduated from Ivy League school, Stanford University, graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Communication. With the skills to pay the bills, he hopped on startup company Nifty Gateway, founded by tech bros Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, to head up the business development. In other words, he helps onboarding artists build the details for their collection and helps them execute the collection too. And also, on the side, he manages the social channels and communication outreach. So with all that to say, Tommy Kimmelman, what up, legend?
what's up, guys? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yes, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us. We tried to do this another time, but we messed up. We messed up the time zone.
Our bad.
I know, it was our bad. So yes,
hey,
again,
we've
thank
all
you for
been
your
there.
graciousness.
We've all been there.
We just want to own up, a little have of that ownership to the schedules and times. But I think just to get in real quick, could you give us like a rundown? I tried to do my best with the intros, but did I miss anything? What do you actually do at Nifty Gateway?
Yeah. I think you summed it up for the most part. I mean, that was definitely the main scope of my role when I first started back in November of 2019. And that was pre-launch. So Nifty Gateway 2.0 didn't get launched until March. So from that time frame, I was mainly just looking for talent, artists that we could release with. And the roles kind of transitioned a little bit since then. Mm-hmm. I still kind of manage all the onboarding of artists and partners and stuff like that, but I've also taken on much more of an artist relations type role. So if an artist is releasing with us, they'll submit the work to me. I'll help them structure the collection, get it up on the site, make sure they get paid and everything. So there's definitely the business development aspect of it, but it's very much artist relations as well.
I bet you have to have a pretty creative mind to get in the other person's shoes to build their collection and what they're going to present.
Yeah, definitely. And that was a little bit of a transition for me first, because I don't really come from an art world or a creative background. But, working with some of these amazing artists over the last year, it's kind of just I've been picking up on a lot of stuff that they do, and it's really helped me with that transition. So yeah, it was a little bit of a struggle at first, but with all these new collections that we had coming out, it kind of just naturally helped me out with that.
By the process of osmosis.
That's right. Shout
out to Osmosis Jones.
Shout out.
Teaching me the basic fundamentals of science. That's really cool to hear. And I'm glad that it's kind of the creativity has bled through you, because like we talked about this before, me and Matthew, but it's kind of like everybody has sort of an innately kind of creative mind, or the definition of creativity to me is like just problem solving. So you look at a problem and you're just solving it. And I think that's really cool that Nifty, or at least you, started in or Nifty 2.0 started in March and started like booming out from there. Cause I remember, I think the first time I saw Nifty Gateway was like from either Blake Catherine or Bill Ellis. Bill Ellis. Is that how you say it?
Bill Ellis, I think.
Bill Ellis, yeah.
Yeah. Their tweets and the Twitter marketing scheme. So could you go into a little bit of depth of just kind of where you found these artists? Like, where'd you even start? Because it took me a little bit of while to find out who Blake Catherine and Bill Ellis was.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we first were starting, back in November when I was brought on, we didn't actually know that it was going to be exclusively an art platform. Or, I mean, it's probably like 95% art, maybe 5% collectibles, or even less. Mm-hmm. At first, we didn't really know that it was going to be that. We were looking at a lot of different collectibles projects. We were trying to reach out to sports teams and a lot of non-artist partners. And then crypto art started getting a lot more recognition come like January and February. And at that point we were getting ready to launch. So we really started, thinking, hey, maybe that's the direction we want to take this thing. So we started doing a lot more artist reach outs. And from that, I was mainly just doing a ton of research online, like who are cool artists. I was looking at Hypebeast and stuff like that. That's where I found John Bergerman, who was one of the first artists we launched with. And I didn't really have too much knowledge of the crypto art space at first. So it was a little bit of a learning curve for me, figuring out like who were the main artists in the crypto art space who are tokenizing their work and doing it in a successful way. And that kind of led me to finding Josie Bellini and Coldy and some of the crypto art pioneers like that. And then after that, I started finding a ton of digital artists on Instagram, which has been a really fantastic resource for Nifty Gateway. And like, obviously we have art listed on Nifty Gateway's account, and we follow a ton of art accounts. So all of our recommended content is just like these digital artists, and sometimes physical too. So that's where I pulled a lot of them. That's where I found Stephen Baltai, also known as Real Imposter on Instagram. He was one of the first like mainstream digital artists that we worked with. And then like later down the line found Blake Catherine. And actually Bill was, he was outsourced to us. So not a lot of people know this, but one artist per week, every Thursday, is outsourced by Vincent Harrison. He runs an art gallery, a fine art gallery in Los Angeles. Oh, wow. So yeah, he's really knowledgeable in the fine art world, and he's been a great resource for us. So pretty much every Thursday he outsources one artist to us. He actually made the initial connection with people.
That's awesome.
So
that's really cool.
He set up that intro, and he's really played a pivotal role for us in bringing on awesome partners.
That's super tight. So I guess for people who don't know what kind of the crypto art sphere is, because we've been talking to that, I want to add a little context of what is crypto art, or more specifically, and I think y'all's branding is on par with Nifty. What are NFTs? Could you explain that for us?
Yeah, so NFTs are basically tokens built on the Ethereum blockchain that allows you to verify the authenticity and ownership over a digital item or a digital artwork. It's really unique. It essentially, like, the way that I like to explain it to people who are outside the space and don't really understand it with all the technical terms, it's basically like you're purchasing a certificate of ownership and authenticity over a digital item. Mm-hmm. Like I try to really give that simple explanation, and it clicks for people. But that's basically what it is. And there's this really awesome community that's been developing over the last 3 years that's really accelerated over the last 6 months, known as, we just like to call it the crypto art space or the NFT space.
For sure. I'm curious of where, if you have these like digital tokens, and it's easier for me to relate it into kind of like a physical space, but do they get stored somewhere? And if they're stored, is it like, what's the security like? Because if you're selling like, high dollar pieces of art, I would figure that, you'd have to have some, like a custodian kind of role in that kind of space.
Yeah, exactly. And so once you purchase these tokens, they immediately get distributed to your wallet, your digital wallet. And on Nifty Gateway in particular, we custody all of our wallets, which is essentially like once you sign up for a profile on Nifty Gateway, that profile serves as like a wallet. We custody all of those through Gemini, who has some of the top custodial crypto services in the world. And that's played a really big role for us launching Nifty Gateway. Like a lot of the things that we're able to do, we heavily rely on Gemini's technology and infrastructure. So it kind of accelerated the process for us. We probably wouldn't be where we are today in terms of those custodial wallets for like another 5 years if we tried to do it on our own. So yeah, that's kind of a big stance that we take on Nifty Gateway. We really like to make sure that any items that you purchase on our site, they're taken care of. You're not going to lose them. You're not going to get hacked. So that's why we have the Gemini custody services in place.
So I have a clarifying question. So when you're purchasing, do you purchase Ethereum and you use Ethereum to purchase tokens?
Well, on Nifty Gateway in particular, you can do that, or you can purchase with a credit card or a debit card.
Okay.
We're one of the few platforms that allows you to do that. Basically, we're just hooked up with Stripe. who's a really awesome platform. And that enables our users to just throw down a credit card or a debit card and purchase the artworks. And we also do have a prepaid Ethereum option. So when we first started, we just allowed you to hook up your MetaMask and purchase that way with Ethereum. MetaMask is basically like an external browser that allows you to purchase digital items with Ethereum. And we've since moved away from that into a prepaid Ethereum wallet, which is really cool. It's a much more user-friendly experience. And basically for that, each Nifty Gateway account is now linked with an Ethereum wallet that's also custodied by Gemini. So rather than just link your MetaMask, all you have to do is send whatever amount of Ethereum you're trying to deposit to that prepaid Ethereum address. And then you could use it in the drops. You can use it on the secondary market, and it's just as fast as checking out with a credit card. It actually might be a few milliseconds faster, which, when the drop format comes into play, that can be every millisecond counts. So
totally.
Absolutely. I think everybody realized that after the new
PlayStation 5.
Yeah, PlayStation 5 and NVIDIA released their graphics cards.
Yeah, those were gone
instantly.
Seriously, instantly. So crazy.
That's sick.
So Tommy, what did you go to school for? So we know you went to Stanford. What did you actually go to school for?
So I majored in communications. I had a really heavy focus on marketing and digital media. So that has helped me in a lot of ways, I would say, getting acquainted with Nifty Gateway, like namely when I'm doing stuff for social media and marketing campaigns for the artist, a lot of the stuff I learned comes into play.
Okay, cool. I think you're the first guest, or one of the only guests, I think, that hasn't either gone to school for art or is doing art specifically as their primary career.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I went to I wouldn't say mine's my schooling experience is comparative to yours, but I was super interested into marketing. So I'm really stoked that I could have you on, because it's like my two favorite things. It's the arts, and then it's business. And so when they collide, you just get Happy Jimmy. And
Happy Jimmy. We love Happy Jimmy.
Yeah. So school benefited you a lot. Where was the I'm just interested, where was kind of like the connection from you and Tyler Winklevoss or Cameron?
Yeah, so it's a super random. I guess it was a weird way that I found Nifty Gateway. So I have a family friend his wife worked at Gemini, which is the company that owns Nifty Gateway. So I was looking for a job out of college, and I really wanted to work at a startup. I wanted to be in a position where I could put in long hours and like earn responsibilities and like really see all the work that I put in actually benefit the company on the front lines. So, I was asking around about some opportunities, and then that family friend reached out to me, who I had previously asked if he knew of any opportunities, and said, hey, like, there's this really cool company called Nifty Gateway. Like my wife works at Gemini, the company that owns it. Like, you should check out this role. So I checked it out. I applied. I got set up with an interview, and it kind of just went from there. And then meeting Tyler and Cameron actually happened, I think, probably like my first or second week on the job. They're really, really active in the Gemini offices, which is cool to see. And they're really hands-on with a lot of the employees that work there. And even Nifty Gateway, like, they didn't have to help us out. Like, they could have just let us do our own thing, but they're super invested in the company. So they helped us out a lot from December to March in the lead up to our drop, with introducing us to a lot of cool people that we could launch with. Inviting the Gemini offices, they would go to a ton of those meetings and help us pitch the artist, which is, they did not have to do that. And they're super busy guys. So that was really cool. And honestly, it's accelerated Nifty Gateway to the point of getting all these really cool artists that we probably wouldn't have been able to get meetings with in the first place.
Whoa.
So that must be pretty exciting. Like, I've always felt it would be pretty cool, like you're saying, to go with a startup, something that's just like new. And I would guess it's a pretty big chance to go into some space that you're not familiar with, that most people, I'd say in general, aren't very familiar with. But now, people are starting to take notice. And obviously 2020 was kind of a huge year for NFTs in this digital art selling space. How important do you think 2021 is going to be for this?
I think it's going to be crucial. I think there's there's two sides to it. Like 2020 saw a ton of growth. So I think some questions that arise are, one, are we going to continue to see that sustained growth for NFTs? And two, is the pandemic going to change anything? Like once the vaccine rollout accelerates and, life starts turning back to normal, I hope in 2021, is that going to hamper the growth of NFTs? So to a degree, I think it might, especially with people who are outside of the digital art space. Like we've seen some pretty solid interest from musicians. We have a few big ones planned coming up that I'm not going to leak today, but be on the lookout for those. And, part of me worries, hey, like when we go to normal life and these guys can go touring and doing their thing to make money, are they going to just stop caring about NFTs? So I think that might happen to a degree, but at the same time, the amount of growth that we've seen in the last 9 months it can't be ignored. It's been pretty insane. So, part of me thinks that it's just going to keep moving forward and it's going to keep getting adopted. And that's really what we're trying to do, is aggressively reach out to these partners right now, like musicians who can't really monetize due to the pandemic. So, we're trying to do our part and really accelerate it as much as we can so that come 2021, 2022, NFTs are here, mainstream level, and they're here to stay.
Yeah. That's cool that you say that. I've been listening to the School of Motion podcast, and it's led by this guy, Joey Corman or something like that. And he talks to some motion designers about, what's it going to be like, when everything calms down. And I want to throw this idea out there to you, just for you just to marinate on it. Since everybody is, away from the offices and most people are kind of like working from home, I feel like that eliminates a lot of overhead for some businesses, for them to, not have to pay their building expenses and their electricities. And especially for like studios, like art studios, like those are some heavy bills topped on with, like the healthcare and benefits you give to your employees. So do you think that people are going to go back to studios or go back to in-house production when we've kind of went through a year of, I would say, not thriving, but a year of struggle and growth where we've been able to perform without, a space, basically?
Yeah, a lot of pulling back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the options are going to change a lot. I think you're going to see some people go back, and you're going to see some people being like, hey, I just was forced to do this for a year and it worked. So why not just keep doing it? So I think we're going to see a little bit of both. And I think especially separate from art, with tech companies, they're going to be much more lenient with going full remote. I think it was either Facebook or Twitter, or maybe both, that announced that their employees can be full remote if they choose to do so post pandemic. Wow. And then with Gemini, they are allowing us to work remotely 2 days out of 5, Monday through Friday. And if we want more than that, we can just chat with the manager. So it seems like they're becoming a lot more lenient. And I really think the reason why is, like, it's been almost a year now, or like 9 months that we've been all working remotely, and it's gone totally fine. Like it's run smoothly. I don't think we've really run into any issues. I know at Gemini and Nifty Gateway, we haven't. So yeah, I think the options are just going to really open up.
I love to hear that.
Yeah, that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
So as far as, like, I know you're head of artist relations, right? That's kind of your official title. Yeah. So are you reaching out primarily to artists, or can artists be like, hey, I'm interested in selling my art through your platform? How does that process kind of go?
Yeah. So in the first months before launch, it was exclusively me reaching out, obviously, because no one knew what Nifty Gateway was. Yeah, exactly. And then in the first few months after that, there was more interest from artists within the crypto art community already. We were starting to like slowly build a name for ourselves there. And then especially over the last 3 months, I think really once we brought people in, there's been a ton of interest from people outside the space just reaching out directly to us, to the point where I don't really reach out to that many people anymore. If there's someone huge that I really want and I want to go after them, I'll do it. But I could sit back in like a month and get a ton of inbound requests. We do have an application portal on Nifty Gateway. that I try to check as often as I can. I mean, we sometimes get like over 50 applications per day.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So it can be difficult to monitor. Yeah, it's pretty insane. I mean, because like a guy like Beeple or like Stephen Baltai, Blake Catherine, some of these digital artists with big followings, a large chunk of the people that follow them are also digital artists. So they see them doing this successful drop on Nifty Gateway, they research us, they see what we are, and then they apply. So yeah, the interest has definitely been accelerating a lot, to the point where like I really don't need to do that many reach outs anymore. Like if someone big wants to work with us, they will reach out to us. So yeah.
So you have to be accepted to be kind of put on the platform. And is every single artist done in like this drop format? Like at this time it's going live?
Yeah. So currently, so everyone does have to be accepted into the platform, whether that's through the application process, shooting us a DM and we like your work, or me reaching out to that artist. They all have to be accepted. And then every artist currently does release through the drop format. It's the only functionality our site has right now for releasing collections. We are thinking about in the future adding on a new feature, which would be allowing artists to release whenever they want, separate from the drops. But that's more of a long-term goal. We're hoping to get that out sometime in spring. But some of these things take a lot longer to build than you expect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
I have I kind of have two questions I'm super interested in. I'll do the marketing one first. So when you were reaching out to people, what was sort of, I'm a really big fan of the DM and the subject line. What do you say, or is there a formula that you use, or maybe you throw in your personality that you use to kind of capture that attention?
Yeah, I tried to keep it as short while still being informative as possible, which is key when it comes to this new technology that's difficult to understand, especially for artists. Like you don't want to reach out to an artist and shoot them like an essay explaining NFTs. I tried to like simplify it down as much as I could. And I really baked in that explanation of NFTs that I gave you guys earlier. Basically, like this is a certificate of ownership, authenticity over a digital item. It's something that people can understand and like, it just kind of clicks, or at least kind of clicks. So I try to like simplify it as much as I can. And then once we first started gaining some traction, I started throwing in names of artists that we had released with who were big names into that reach out. Like a big one was Kenny Scharf, which was a huge land for us. It was actually Tyler and Cameron who really helped us land that one. So, he's a really successful fine art world guy. So then anytime I was reaching out to someone from the fine art world, I just name dropped Kenny Scharf, in like a casual way. But I was like, hey, like we're Nifty Gateway. This is what we are. This is what NFTs are. And we've released with Kenny Scharf and a few of these other big names before, and their drops sold out. If you'd like, or if you're interested, we'd love to jump on a call to explain. It's really just like trying to get these guys on a call, because if I can get someone on a 30-minute call to explain the platform and the vision, like, I can convince most people. So yeah, it's really just trying to keep things short, keep it sweet, but at the same time, like putting enough out there that you could reel them into an initial call.
Absolutely. I really dig that, because my approach to DMs is usually sending them a video of me doing a cartwheel, saying hi. And that usually reels them in sometimes.
100% of the time, actually. Yeah.
No, I like the simplicity of it. And my next question is for Beeple. Can you explain the gravity of why, for people who don't know Beeple, which is in the few, because I'm pretty sure most of the people who listen to this know Beeple.
Yeah, we've talked about him on like every single episode.
Yeah, almost every single. Can you explain to like why having Beeple on and him dropping like 0.4% of his portfolio was a big deal?
Yeah, I mean, I think just getting Beeple in general was a big deal in the sense that he's one of, if not the biggest digital artist in the world. And huge following. Like I think he's got almost 2 million followers on Instagram now. So he's got that really big reach. Everyone knows who he is. And I think a lot of it is his artwork in particular is just it's so unique you just don't like, it's people. If you look at an artwork, you're like,
exactly.
that's a people.
Yeah. It's
so
captivating.
I think in that sense, that's really helped his brand tremendously. I think another side to it too is he came into this NFT space really wanting to know as much as he possibly could. Like when I had that first initial meeting with him, it was just he and I on a 2-hour call, and he asked me everything that he could about NFTs, about the crypto space. He was asking me about yield farming. Like we really went down the rabbit hole. And the reason why, I think, is he was trying to gain as much information as he could to create the most epic drop possible. He wanted to do something that no one else has done before. And he did that, like with the second one in particular, with the infinite objects, the physical token pairing. So,
oh my goodness.
The hair samples.
I love that.
Yeah. So I think it was really just like a groundbreaking moment for the space. And we did this Clubhouse talk with him a few days back, and, a ton of big digital artists were coming into the room, asking him questions, saying, hey, like, I've looked up to you for years. Like, I love your work. You're like one of the artists that I aspire to be like, and that was really cool to see. So, I think it's more so than just the big following. It's that he's inspired so many digital artists, that, he's just become one of the most recognizable and biggest names in the space.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I follow Nick Sharma. He's my marketing guy on Twitter, and he started talking about Clubhouse. What is Clubhouse? What is that application?
So Clubhouse is basically a voice chat room. It's kind of like Discord, but without any text chat. It's just all voice. And you can create rooms to like host talks, basically, and it's exclusive. So the only way to get on the app and actually start using it is by getting an invite. I was lucky enough a few days before that Clubhouse talk that Rami from Space Yacht, he hooked me up with an invite. So that was pretty cool.
Sick. Yeah. I'm still waiting on my invite. I have just the loading screen now, but yeah, I love the platform and all the great new technologies that everybody's using, and to get, I guess, spread the information. I think that's really cool.
Totally. And it kind of goes back to like the situation that we're in right now in the pandemic. Like, tech platforms like that, they just get a ton of buzz because, people are kind of just sitting around and they're looking for stuff to do. I mean, then I've seen some crazy people on there, like 21 Savage is on there hosting talks all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So yeah, it's super cool.
I have a question about Beeple again, because I'm enamored with this guy, and just hearing about his success with the drops of his collection was just insane. And that's what like really got me excited about the future of where NFTs are going, and Nifty Gateway in particular are going. Do you think that he is to the digital art space as what Banksy was for like graffiti and street art? Do you think that he could kind of like be that new face for something that wasn't exactly quote unquote respected as an art form before?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's cool that you mentioned that, because I've heard that comparison several times.
Really?
Yeah, it came up in the Clubhouse talk. I've seen it on Twitter a few times where people are like, if you could compare one digital artist to Banksy, who would it be? And people almost every time. I think the one thing that he lacks in that comparison is the anonymity, which is, that's probably the less important comparison. The more important one is that he's come in and just completely revolutionized the crypto art space, which has been really cool to see, and totally is making it more respected as an art form now. And that's his main goal, or one of his main goals, is to really have this new wave of crypto art allow digital artists all over the world to be recognized as a true art form.
I love that.
Wow. I'm kind of I'm just letting all the knowledge like sink in, because it's like I just heard about this. Like I heard about what y'all were doing recently, and I actually found your Twitter page. As soon as I found your Twitter page, I DM'd you. It was like Christmas Eve or something like that. But super stoked that you responded and all that. What would you say or recommend for people who are, I guess, mainly the purpose? Because I know Nifty doesn't want to go out and I guess for artists, they don't want people just to come on there to, I guess, make money. I know it's not like a farm or something, you know what I mean? It's not like just
totally.
a production farm. What would you say to the artists out there who do feel like they have like the worth and the skills? What would you say to them to fit the Nifty kind of projection, just to get them more standing out?
Yeah. And I mean, I get this question a lot from artists within the space. And I think the main thing is starting on any platform for tokenizing artwork. If it's not Nifty Gateway, that's fine. There's plenty of platforms out there. I would say getting on Twitter and really following a ton of people in the space and just trying to get your artwork seen. I think, with Beeple and some of these really big artists, Trevor Jones, Ferocious, what they're really, really good at is marketing themselves. They post all the time. They follow the right people. They have great artwork and they just get their work out there. And I think that was the big thing for Trevor. And it really clicked for me when we did that first drop with him, the Picasso's Bull drop back in July. He announced it a month in advance, at least, maybe it was more, and just was constantly posting about it, like building hype, teasing the artworks, making it into this huge event. So, I think just really like narrowing in on marketing your career and doing whatever you can to make sure the right eyeballs end up on your artwork is the biggest thing.
Yeah. And it can be like anybody too, because I'm still surprised of how young Ferocious is. And
18, right?
Yep.
So that's crazy. Yeah. And he has awesome. He has a nice style and he's pumping out good stuff. So very unique. It can be like literally anybody, right?
It really could. And Ferocious is an amazing artist in person. Actually has a drop with us tonight. I don't know if you guys knew that. That'll be up in a few hours.
That's right.
And one of the most genuine people I've ever met in my entire life. So wow. I think it's well deserved on both sides in a great person, a great artist, and really good at marketing themselves, but not in like a pushy way, in like a genuine way. Like, I just want the world to see my artwork.
Something that really stuck out to me on your Twitter, I think it said something along the lines of interactions are greater than follower count. And that's kind of like what really breeds a community rather than just like fame, because totally. Something that I've noticed since we've had this podcast is talking with different people in the community. It's like all of them kind of like know of each other. Like we've heard of each other's names and things like that. They've seen their art. And if you go on Twitter, they're all commenting on each other's posts. And it's like it says, a lot of interaction. And I think part of that marketing that you're talking about, that's a huge, huge piece of it. And that's why social media is such a powerful tool. Yeah,
totally. Especially on Twitter. I mean, most of the crypto art world is on Twitter, and it just so happens to be like, I would say like one of the most, if not the most interactive social media platforms, which is great. It's really good for talking with people, like getting to know new people, discovering new artists. So yeah, and it kind of brings me back to like, if I'm giving a new artist that's trying to break into the space advice, it's like, definitely get on Twitter and start following these people in the space and, tweeting at people, getting your artwork out there without being too pushy. You don't want to seem like you're trying to throw it at people, but at the same time, like just getting to know this awesome community on Twitter is like the biggest thing.
Yeah. And people are so giving. That's another thing that we've noticed with their information, with their time, and just like advice. It's really awesome. So that's good advice. Get plugged in.
Yeah, definitely. I think the crypto art community is extremely unique in that sense. It's unlike any community I've ever been a part of before. Like, you could reach out, you could be someone that's very unknown and reach out to one of the biggest artists in the space or any of the biggest artists in the space. And, unless they're like people getting their notifications constantly flooded, they'll probably respond. So it's a really, really helpful and giving community for sure.
I think, and we were talking to, I don't know if you know who Patrick 4D is, but we were talking to him on our last podcast, and he was saying that he was a DP and a producer and did a bunch of music videos. And he said that there was a big difference between, and he's into 3D art now. He makes some really cool stuff.
He does.
Anyways, he was talking about the community and how at least 3D artists are so much more humble than kind of like a vocal artist or kind of filmmaker. Yeah. And do you have any insights onto why that is, since you talk to so many? Is there a key formula?
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. And I think a big reason why is just, I mean, I hate to say it, but like the lack of respect a lot of these digital and 3D artists get with their work. It's an unfortunate situation. And like, thankfully the crypto art space is here and getting traction and helping them gain that deserved respect. But you know, a lot of people that these artists work with just view them as like someone that can do freelance work. You know, which is unfortunate. Yeah, exactly. So it's like almost less respected as an art form, or it has been. And yeah, like I said, that tide is beginning to turn. And what the crypto art space has brought is a lot of these digital artists and 3D artists gaining respect. So, you know, that may begin to change. I mean, I hope it does. A lot of these guys don't always have to be humble. You know, they have some of the most incredible artwork in the world.
Yeah. And that's why I like, it's the authenticity. You're adding the validity with the token. I mean, that token is basically like a token to say like, you know, this is kind of worth
this
something.
Is real thing.
It's not a computer. It's there's a human behind the computer. It's not just a computer pumping out algorithms to create this. It's like there's design and there's like a creator behind what's happening.
Yeah, we've touched on this a little bit as well in the past of like, social media is fantastic. And that's how a lot of people see digital art in the first place, almost exclusively, I would say. Mm-hmm. But it's so passive, I guess. Like you see something, you double tap like, and you scroll past, and it's so easy to not realize that somebody probably slaved over it, or they make one of these every single day, and people don't understand the kind of work and dedication and creativity that takes. And I think the tokens kind of like slow that down a little bit, and seeing someone's collection of art, it really does make you appreciate it more, like you would going to a museum or something. Because it's viewed so differently. Yeah,
totally. And that's, you know, that's one of the things with guys on Instagram. Like they have a huge following and they release this amazing work, but they're not really like getting a lot of likes and followers isn't the recognition that they deserve for it. Right. Totally. Like, and that's one of the things that I love so much about the crypto art space. Like if they're going to slave over something and work on it for a week, like day and night, and then put it out there and it gets bought for like $5,000, you know, that's fantastic. And that's the way that it should be. And that's honestly like one of the things that I envision in the future of the crypto art space is like, people are really going to begin to recognize that more and more. And that's what's going to bring in new collectors.
Yeah. And you're a collector yourself, right? You have a few artworks, right? You have
I do.
Don't you?
I do. Yeah, I'm the proud owner of Into the Ether, that open edition.
That one was awesome. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was actually during the drop for the 5 minutes that open edition was out. I was helping some of the big collectors on Nifty Gateway ensure that they could grab a piece, which is a service that Nifty Gateway offers.
Oh, nice.
You know, if anyone wants assistance buying a big artwork, we can help you out with that. So
wow,
I had to buy, I had to buy like 15 open editions, and I luckily got them all in time, and then sent them over to the accounts of those big collectors. And then I had to buy it on the secondary market afterwards for a little bit of a price premium, but that's fine as long as I got one. But yeah, I do own a collection. It's currently only on Nifty Gateway, and that's not like. And that's not a decision to shut out any of the other platforms by any means. I think there's some very fantastic platforms out there. I just haven't really got around to setting up a profile and trading on there. And I do like the really simple process of buying NFTs on Nifty Gateway. So yeah, I own, I think, over 40 now. All of them are from Nifty Gateway artists.
Yeah, you also have a Perry Cooper and Mag Dog Jones, which shout out to them because I love Perry Cooper's tutorials. I'm a C4D geek myself, so I love getting in it. And then, yeah. And then Mad Dog Jones, his illustrations are so dope. When I first like got into arts and stuff, I checked out his Instagram and I was enamored, and I'd always message him and he'd reply too. And so that always got me gassed up, him interacting with the community.
Yeah, I totally echo that on Mad Dog. When I first was chatting with him a few weeks back, he had his first drop with us in November. So a few weeks before that, I was chatting with him. He just sent me a follow on my personal Instagram. I actually don't know how he found it. Like, he actually took the time to like look me up.
Oh, nice.
And we DM there, and he texted me. So he's a super genuine guy. But yeah, I grabbed his $1 edition that he did with us. So his drop back in November, he did 2 editions of 50, both at $1. It's kind of like a Beeple type format, and didn't grab it in the drop. I was doing that same thing, helping one of our collectors out, but I grabbed it for like 125 on the secondary market. Really awesome deal. And then Perry was another one of the big digital artists that we brought in back in, I want to say like May, April, like a long time ago. So he really took a chance on us, and he's super talented. And I own, I think Trouble Brewing is the name of it. So yeah, it's been really cool watching him succeed on Nifty Gateway, and then he's got some stuff out on Maker's Place as well. Yeah.
Did you find him, or did he found you?
I found him. It was a similar situation to how I found Stephen Baltai. I was just swiping on Instagram and saw his work. I was like, this is awesome. That's honestly from the period of time between like April and June, where we were aggressively reaching out to digital artists. I found probably like 95% of them just on Instagram, and like shot them a DM, and they were like, yeah, like let's meet.
So that's really interesting, because you said before Twitter is the main social platform to use to get like plugged in, but as in, I guess if you're an outsider and getting introduced, Instagram's kind of like the gateway drug, and then Twitter is like full crack, cocaine, heroin.
I mean, to me, it's like it's like Twitter is like the more communicative platform for that, and then Instagram is like just portfolio, and like you want to see artwork, boom, it's there for days and days and days. But
yeah, absolutely. Like they're just both different. I mean, like if you're an artist and you're trying to have your work go viral and like gain new followers, like that's Instagram, It's just like their algorithms and like the way that things will pop up on people's discover feeds. That's Instagram. And then Twitter is more for like interacting with people directly, like, and community building.
Yeah. You mentioned before about collectors, and I don't know if it was like Pablo or something, but does something about like a crypto museum. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah. So Pablo, he is one of the founders of MoCA, Museum of Crypto Art, which is basically a virtual reality museum where he takes all of the artworks that he purchases in like Nifty Gateway drops on Super Rare and Maker's Place and other platforms, and he puts them in his collection, the Museum of Crypto Art. And what's cool about that, and these new VR platforms that support adding NFTs, all you're really doing is taking the NFT from one platform and depositing it into another. And that's what he does. And you guys should totally check it out. I mean, the collection that they've built over the last few years it's insane. I think it's one of the top 5 collections in the world, maybe the best. And I think that really shows conviction on their part, because like they're really taking a risk, like going all in on the space, and
totally.
Yeah.
They've been rewarded, and they're going to continue to be rewarded as it grows, which I really love to see that for them. They're true innovators in this space, and like they really should go all in on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
How does one like access that VR museum?
I think they have 2. I know they have one in Somnium Space, which you can just download it on your computer, and I think they might have one in Decentraland as well, which is another VR platform. I'm not sure. And basically, like the way that it works, I'm not super knowledgeable on these platforms, but basically the way that it works is you can purchase like plots of lands and they own like a plot, and that's where their museum lies. And anyone can look up like the number of their plot and like go visit it. I believe. I'm not like extremely knowledgeable on the tech of those platforms.
But this is like a virtual space, right? Okay.
Yeah, totally virtual. Okay. Like you just download it on your computer, and like it's cool. You get like a character in game, basically like a VR version of you. And you could also like purchase wearables in game, like hats and shoes and stuff to put on your character, and all of those items are NFTs. Which is really cool. It's like mind blowing. This stuff that they're building.
This is sounding really futuristic right now.
Is another one. And it's. Okay. I mean, I think there's a ton of growth potential there, and the fact that they, allow you to just throw your NFTs in there, and all the in-game items are sold as NFTs. I think it's amazing, and I'm really really excited about the future of gaming with NFTs, because like take Fortnite for example, all of their in-game items are digital assets, but they're not NFTs. So if Fortnite servers were ever to go offline, all of those items disappear. Or like say Fortnite 2 comes out, all of the Fortnite 1 items are inherently less valuable because their only value comes from like its in-game use. It's not actually, it has no monetary value. And it can only be purchased with like in-game currency. So Fortnite is definitely a dream partner of Nifty Gateways. We think that all of their in-game items should be stored on the blockchain. And yeah, I mean, it takes me back to like some of the earlier NFT projects like CryptoPunks, which if you guys didn't know, it's basically this one of the first NFT projects that came about where 10,000 CryptoPunks NFTs were created. And that was it. They're completely scarce and limited to 10,000, and they've just gone up in value since. It's really difficult to get your hands on one. And I would see the same thing happening there. Like if you purchased the first ever skin in Fortnite or something, and then 100 years later, like, or even 5 years later, what's that going to be worth? If it's stored on the blockchain and you can prove that you own it, you could actually assign value to it, monetary value, not in-game value.
Yeah, that is kind of genius. I didn't even like imagine that as a possibility, but that is like, it seems like an untapped market of absolute gold for that. I mean, because you have Fortnite, like Madden packs, FIFA packs, CSGO is huge with like reselling skins and stuff like
Rocket League.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly. This could be
huge,
billions and billions of dollars, and no one's doing it. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. There's a few companies doing it. I know Blankos, Block Party, they're a new one where their in-game items are NFTs, and then obviously you have like the Decentralands and the CryptoVoxels and stuff like that. But there hasn't really been like a mainstream game developer that's really tried this, and I don't know if they're thinking about it. I know Nifty Gateway hasn't had conversations with any of them, but that's something I would love to see happen in 2021, 2022. And I think it could completely open the floodgates.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they want to do that? That's really just creating more value for your game one and your digital assets.
Yeah,
exactly. I think there's always a learning curve explaining it to your audience. Like it's difficult to be like, hey, like, you can buy these items that are stored on the Ethereum blockchain. Like it's tough. I mean, we've had that struggle since day one, trying to explain the tech to people. So I think that might be part of it. But I mean, to me, it still seems like a no-brainer. Even if you can like dumb down the explanation to like, you now truly own this item and it can be certified by a certificate of authenticity and ownership. That would help. And then like if someone wanted to dig in more to the tech, you could provide those resources to them. But hopefully we see that happen in the next year or two. We'll see. I think it could be huge.
Yeah, that's an exciting idea.
Absolutely. So I got a question about just a little clarification. So you were saying that Gemini is it secures the tokens, the NFTs, right? So when like say like Pablo in his crypto museum, you're saying he's putting it on one platform to another. Is he taking it out of that security, or is it still in that security space? It's just kind of in another field.
So he'd be taking it out of that security. So essentially like all of the NFTs that you purchase on Nifty Gateway are like custodied by Gemini with the security factor. And then if you were to take it off of our platform and withdraw it to an external wallet, like CryptoVoxels or Decentraland or one of these other platforms, it wouldn't have that same benefit. And that's not to say that these platforms aren't secure or anything like that. It's just saying like it would be going from one platform to another.
Exactly. It's not Gemini.
But that's cool. And like, yeah. And it's cool that NFTs have that ability where you can seamlessly like take it from one virtual world or like one platform or game and just put it into another one, and it still exists there just the same. Which is another thing that excites me about the future. Like we can just, keep expanding the metaverse and building these new things. And all of the in-game items can be like translated from one to another. It's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not separated by language or culture or anything. It's the only thing that's separated by is like, I guess the way it's coded. And so and if a program can read the code, then it's there.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I was thinking about. Like, I actually haven't stopped thinking about it since you mentioned it. This crypto museum, like you go into it and you can like customize your avatar or whatever. It reminds me so much of like Ready Player One and all these different movies and books that I read when I was a kid. It's like you could really spend some serious time in this virtual realm and just like with people from all across the world, no language barriers, no land barriers or anything like that. And you're just there and you're appreciating this thing. And that's just really cool stuff.
You read Ready Player One?
Well, there was this other book that was kind of really similar.
Okay.
By James Dashner, who wrote the Maze Runner series. I forgot exactly what this book series was called, but it was similar. You get into this like coffin thing that basically keeps you alive, and you just go into this thing, and basically everybody lives in this virtual world.
Huh. I didn't understand the Ready Player One book. I thought the book came after the movie.
No, it came way before.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but that was a great movie. It reminds me, when you were talking about it, reminds me of PlayStation Home. I don't know if you ever mess with that, Tommy, but it's exactly like that, except the value wasn't there.
Gotcha.
Like NFT has. Sweet. Cool. Yeah. I've exhausted all my questions so far. I probably have more in the future that I'll be looking up.
My brain's just racing right now.
I know. I'm honestly, what I'm excited to do is I already got like a MetaMask, but now that you're saying that Nifty has their own wallet, I'm thinking of just like maybe put in my application for there and try to get some Nifties. Maybe I can get the Prince of Nifties.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's super easy. Like all you got to do is go to like your account settings, and each account has a prepaid Ethereum address generated, and you can just send Ethereum right to that address, and it'll show up into your account once it has 6 block confirmations on the blockchain.
I'm stoked for that. And with that being said, we have a little segment.
I have one more question.
Real quick. Okay, we're gonna do another question real quick. For someone
who might want to be looking into becoming a collector, okay, hypothetically. What is is there like a resale process, or how does any of that really work? I'm just kind of trying to wrap my brain around it.
Yeah. So Nifty Gateway in particular, we have a secondary marketplace where users can buy or resell any artwork that's been purchased in a drop. And that's been a really powerful mechanism since day one, because, you have all the collectors who go in to buy just to hold them. And then you have a lot of people who go in to buy to try to flip them for a profit, which, sometimes flippers can hurt an ecosystem if they're doing it improperly. But at the same time, like it can be really beneficial in terms of like building up value for an artist's career. And like, I'll give you a great example. So we had that Trevor Jones drop back in July, and he was selling an edition of 25 at 200 initially in the drop. And then they started reselling for like $300, $400 to some of those people who are just trying to make a quick buck. And then once they found their way into the true collector's hands, that's when things started getting interesting and the value started going up, and they started reselling for $1,000 and $2,000. And then I think the highest sell for that one was over $4,000 from an initial price of 200. So
that's wow.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. And then, so he had an edition of 10 in that collection as well, which initially sold for $750. And you had some people the day of or the day after the drop reselling it for like a little over $1,000, like $1,200, $1,500. And then fast forward 4 months to, I think this was about a month ago, we had a user resell it for over $20,000
Oh my
from an initial investment of $750. So yeah, it's just, I think the big thing is like doing it right, like not trying to flip it the next day,
Sure.
holding it and like waiting for a
strategic.
collection or an artist's career to like really blossom.
Mm-hmm.
And then being smart about the way that you sell it is key. So yeah, and you love to see that happen, especially because with NFTs, we back every time that the token changes hands, and we can implement a fee system for both Nifty Gateway and the artist. So in that particular case, when it was resold, Nifty Gateway got a 5% cut of that $20,000. And Trevor Jones, the artist, he got a 10% cut of that. So he made $2,000 just by that trading hands.
Oh, wow.
And you know,
so they still get it from resale.
Yeah,
oh, that's
nice.
huge.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a really cool, like unique thing with the NFT space that just doesn't exist in the fine art world. Like, right. I mean, I've been doing a lot of research there, and you hear stories of guys like Damien Hirst who sold a painting for like $50,000, and then like 5 years later it's selling for $10 million, and he doesn't get a dime of that. Whereas if it were an NFT, he'd be making 10%, and that's $1 million on a $10 million sale. So wow, you know, it's just this, it's a really cool, like unique thing with the NFT space.
And I guess Tyler and Cameron, they had to do a little ethics check when implementing that, right? Yeah. That was very intentional, that the artists are definitely going to get some money back when they're
yeah, and that's universal through the NFT platforms. I believe every platform out there, I think, of the ones that I know, they do have that that fee in place, and it's universal throughout the space that like if you are to make a sale, you should be paying that royalty to the artist, whether it happens on the platform or if you extract it to a wallet and like send it to someone and do a transaction where the artist isn't going to get that cut, like you still pay them in the end. So, you know, that's kind of just a universal thing in the NFT space. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I was actually really happy to hear that.
Yeah. That all around bolsters the community.
Yeah. I mean, it's only a good
it's an
thing.
Incentive to come join the platform too.
Totally.
And start.
Yeah, everyone's being helped.
Yeah.
Everybody gets what they want.
Love to see it.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So we have this little segment on our little show, and it's called Explain the Tweet. Did we copy it from another podcast?
Who knows?
For show? We'll never know.
I don't know.
All right. So Tommy, we're going to go on your Twitter, and we're not going to go too far back into the weeds. But you sent out this tweet, December 28th, 2020 at 9:17 p.m. saying, what is your favorite Nifty Gateway NFT that you own? So I want to ask you that question. What is your favorite? Or you could even say like maybe like a top five pieces, because I know there's a bunch of dope pieces that you own.
Yeah, let me pull up my profile. I mean, there's a few that come to mind off the top of my head. Yeah, and I mean, I have a ton of artists. Yeah, I think my number one is definitely my Into the Ether by Beeple.
Yeah.
That piece is, I'm never selling that. So
good for you.
That's definitely my number one. Another one, I recently got a Pang Shiny from Goldweird, which was released in a really cool mechanism that Nifty Gateway does called a random pack, where basically you pay a set amount and you get a random item found within a pack, and all of them are at different rarities. Yeah. So this one was an edition of 5, which was super lucky. It was like the most lucky I've ever gotten a pack before. Like, cause you know, frequently I'll open them and I'll get like an edition of 30 and 40, which is still cool. And like, I like the artworks, but like, obviously the scarce ones are always
that is
fun.
So smart that y'all implemented that. Like that is just so genius. That's, I mean, cause I just think about FIFA and Madden all the time. Like the fact that they're charging $60 for their game, and they also have Ultimate Team that they make literally billions off of each year, just off of those packs with a very similar, I guess, strategy. Yeah. Like with rarity and stuff like that, and a chance. It's a set amount. You don't know what you're getting, but you know, you might get something cool. Genius.
What do you mean by the additional like 5 or 30?
Addition? Like
addition. Yeah.
Gotcha. It's my ear dyslexia.
Yeah. So there's only 5 available of that one. And yeah, it's cool. I mean, people have loved that release format. And honestly, like, I think we do need to be exploring it a little bit more. We have a couple big ones coming up. I mean, I'm not going to name drop, but
For sure.
we do have a really big collection with an esports team, like a mainstream esports team coming up in late January, who's going to be doing a big pack collection. So stoked for that one.
Another industry that's going up, dude. Esports.
Yep.
That's huge.
Totally.
Absolutely.
And they really should be leveraging NFTs, whether it's in releases like this or like the in-game stuff that I was talking about. So
I love that partnership idea.
Totally. Yeah, so that's probably one of my favorites. I grabbed an Avenue of the Americas by Thank You
I
X
saw that.
and Jose Silva. Yeah, that was a sick drop. And I was really stoked to grab one of those. And they're just great guys. I mean, Thank You X and Jose, they've been
shout out to them.
They've been really awesome throughout the process, and I couldn't have been happier to see them succeed. So that was cool, and I was glad to grab one from theirs. And then one of another ones that sticks out is The Last Stand of the Nation State by Slime Sunday, who actually has a drop coming up with us on the 6th, so on January 6th. So pumped for that one.
I love Slime.
Yeah, he's the man. He's one of the most talented artists I've ever seen, because he does all that stuff on his Instagram page, like the still artworks that are basically like collaged from like magazine clippings, which is cool. And when I first heard of him, I thought that was just like the only style that he did.
He does more.
Yeah. So did you ever see the collection with Blau and him? They're called SSX Blau. It's like a collaboration between the two.
I have not. I have to look it up.
You guys should check. Yeah, you should check that out. So he is actually incredible at animating artworks as well. And
oh my goodness.
he made these really dope animations, and Blau, who's a DJ, he threw down some beats over it, and they've done 2 drops with us, and both of them were insane. And I was just blown away by Mike Slime Sunday, his ability to thrive with those still images, the ones that he's posting on his Instagram, as well as the animations. It's really cool, and it just shows his range as an artist.
That reminds me of Hoodass. He does these amazing 3D renders, and then he also has like a photography page. And like you think, like, okay, he's good at 3D renders, he's gonna be good at photography. But like I'm looking at his pictures, and they're like, holy crap, they're so cool. They're so cool.
And another thing with him too, he does those really awesome still renderings on his Instagram, like some of the most detailed and intricate digital artworks you can find. And then another thing that a lot of people don't know about him is he, just like Slime Sunday, is a fantastic animator. He had some animations with his first drop that he did with us. And then his next one with us coming up is going to be like fully animated. And it's pretty insane seeing how talented he is with the still renderings as well as animations. It's difficult to find an artist that can do that. You have a lot of artists who can build the initial 3D model of like a still image, and then you have artists who can animate it into like an animated artwork. And it's hard to find artists who can do both extremely well. And he is definitely one of those guys. It was actually Slime Sunday who made that initial connection.
No way.
Between me and
awesome.
Philip. Yeah. And it's interesting because their styles are super similar in terms of their ability to like make awesome still renderings as well as animations.
Yeah, that's what Alexi is starting to get into. Aphoria.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Animations. Oh yeah. We had Alexi on he was like our third one on the.
Oh, no
podcast.
way.
Yeah. He was episode 4.
4. Yeah. No.
Very cool.
No. 5. Yeah. No, I love his stuff too.
Yeah. He's a super sweet guy too.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm really excited to look at what else Slime Sunday has to offer, because his stuff. Have you seen it?
I don't think so.
Okay, come look at this stuff, because it's so great. And to add on from what you were saying, Tommy, with the animations, it's like You got modeling, you got texturing, you got lighting, you got the animation. You have people who rig those models up. You have like sculptors. Like there's all these like different things to kind of jobs to fill and shoes to fill that you can create, such beautiful artworks. And I'm totally not surprised that Philip is one of those.
Yeah, it's really cool to see guys who can do all of it, and it kind of it just blows me away, because you have a ton of artists who just do like the still renderings or who just specialize in animations, and then you have guys who just are experts in all of it, and that's really cool to see. So
it's huge.
Yeah, cool. Would you like to come in near the end of the podcast? I want you to plug in anything you can. Anything you want to have. We got some show notes. We're going to link literally everything in the show notes. What would you like to plug?
Yeah, I mean, I did mention Slime Sunday's got a drop coming up on the 6th. So that's definitely worth noting. I know you said you were excited for his next one.
Yes.
That's going to be sick. He's going to be releasing 15 one-of-ones and an open edition, and each of the items comes with a book that displays all the artworks. So that's going to be sick. I'm really, really excited about that one, that he's going to take that physical component in. I just do feel a little bit bad for him, because I know a ton of these open editions are going to sell, and he's not going to have fun shipping them all out. So
hey, that's a good problem to have.
Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it though. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. It was a really good time.
Yeah, I've learned a lot, Tommy. So thank you very much. I'm very new to this space. I'm going to go into film. So I'm not even like a digital artist myself, but just learning about it. And I love it. It's really cool stuff. So thank you.
I'm really glad
you lending your knowledge.
Absolutely. I'm really glad you could come on, and super appreciate you being here.
Yeah, no worries.
Guys, thank you so much, dude, for listening to the pod. I hope you enjoyed the loads of information that Tommy brought with him. If you missed anything that he said, we have legit everything linked in the show notes, okay? Check it out. Matthew goes hard with the show notes, okay? And so we have a bunch of stuff jam-packed in there, so definitely check it out. Also, don't forget, we're not networking, we're making friends.